Welcome back to the channel. This is Rubber City Motoring. I am JT here to guide you through this process. Well, Meguiar sent this over. This is their hybrid paint coating. Hybrid polysiloxane technology, true cure cross-linking technology. The main thing though on this, if you look, 1 year of paint protection. What I do on my cars a lot of times is I am the kind of person that I drive it. I mean, that's what they're meant to do. This Corvette is no different. I plan to use it. It's already been to the track once. You know, not necessarily a daily driver, but I still like to drive it. It's not going to sit here and is, you know, Ferris Bueller said, I'm sorry, I think that was Cameron, rubbed with a diaper. This paint, if you look, 38,000 miles. I thought it was really clean. Then I started preparing it for this process. Now as we go around the garage, there's a lot going on here, lots of projects, lots of things happening, but you know, this is something that I need to get done because it's a process and it's taken me a little while to get to this point. So let me explain for you here. Like I just said, the idea of, you know, keeping my car showroom ready, it's just not going to happen. I use it. So what we have here is this process, this system. It runs about $50, and they sort of guarantee or plan for you to not have to wax your car for a whole year. Almost imagine adding a little candy coating shell to your car to protect the paint, to let water bead off and all that good stuff. This isn't a $400 or $500 ceramic coating you'd have done by a professional. I've always wanted to do that. So if you're somebody and you want to volunteer and have me document the process, that'd be great. But I just don't. I think if I did it, I would be completely blown away. But I just have never pulled the trigger on it. So this is the next best thing. This is a do-it-yourself type kit that's gonna sort of do a similar process. I've read good reviews on it, so let me go through and run you through how I'm doing the process myself. The first thing I did, Meguiar's made this stuff years ago. It's called Wash Plus. It's a really nice little process. You don't have to use 2-bucket method. It's just a quick wash. Car comes out looking great, but one of the beauties of this, which everybody that's used this knows, is this does a really good job of stripping off wax, paint protectants, anything on there. It gives you a pretty solid working point to start any form of correction or wax or anything. It really does just kind of, imagine, scrapes off everything in a non-invasive way. So I did that, and that's actually the second or third time I've washed the car with this. From there, I did a standard paint clay on there, and that was surprising. This paint actually looked really nice. I was in, you know, as I was doing it, you know, if you ever done paint clay, you rub it, you feel it on there. It was picking up contaminants. It was just definitely, there was stuff on there. Not horrible, not anything bad at all for 38,000 miles and, you know, a garage queen Corvette that I just picked up. Did the whole car in that, and I was very surprised at the shine that picked up on this pewter color here. This isn't the most exciting color in the Corvette palette from the C5, but it's one of my favorites because it doesn't show a lot of dirt, a lot of dust, a lot of anything, but as it's clean, oh my gosh, I was just blown away how shinier it got, how much gloss it had. Now, I don't know if you can see these. There are some spots on the clear where this really could go for a, you know, one-step paint correction, a buffer at a random orbital, something like that, just to kind of get out, because you can see there's a little bit of, like, almost you want to say like water spots on there. It's tough to capture on the camera, but they're there. I mean, they're not horrible, but you can see a couple little etches here and there, almost like where like a water sat on it or something, just kind of, which is surprising. Or you know, this, I doubt it was like this from the factory, but you can tell it's not completely perfect if you're completely worried about that and that whole thing. So that was the first. The second step was the paint clay. Now we're going to go to the kit. First step is the surface prep. They call it the M122. I'm just going to read this. Spray and wipe off to prepare the surface. Removes dust, polishing oils, compound residues for maximum bonding. So you're getting ready for this stuff over here. This stuff, it comes out in sort of a misty type fashion, and if you've noticed, I've divided my two things because you're going to use these three items together. Over here, this is the final product. You're going to apply it with this, you're going to wipe it with this. But first, you start over here, and all this comes with the kit: 2 microfiber towels, the pad, the coating, and the surface prep. It's all included in that box. You use the 1 microfiber towel to put this on there. They basically say you spray this on there and you let it dwell for up to 2 minutes. It just sort of sits, and I'm assuming it breaks down stuff. I've done most of the car in this, and I have a little bit less than half in the bottle here. Now, this isn't a big car, so if you have a larger vehicle, I'd be worried about this, but I wanted to show you this a little bit on here, how this comes out. It's just like a light mist, and you spray it around. And that's it. I thought it was interesting and kind of curious. It doesn't necessarily like spread, so I probably over applied it, but this is the main step to stripping everything off. And I mean, I know everything I just said was a pretty aggressive strip down on the thing, but it's sitting now for 2 minutes. You wait there, and then we basically just sort of wipe it off with the microfiber towel. You sort of just rotate it, you remove the compound and all that with this, and you just basically clean it off, almost like a detail spray. Let me show you how it comes off here. And it really does. I don't want to say this is a detail spray or a finishing product, but boy, you can tell it takes anything and everything off of there, fingerprints, everything, and it gets it ready for the final product here, which that's what we're going to get into, and that's the meat and potatoes of this whole product. So I think the misting, as long as you're covering most of it, and I think the wiping action is what's going to help it out. But I mean, if you were really worried, you could use the whole bottle, because I mean, you're not going to probably use it again. But I mean, I do that test where I feel it, and it is smooth. It's ready to go. The whole car is nice and shiny, nice and smooth. Not really much wrong with it at all. So let's get into the bottle here of the coating next. For the most part with this, pretty detailed instructions. They obviously say make sure you wash your car. Cool, dry area. Never work out in the sun on this. A bad idea anytime you're doing paint stuff, because it dries so quick. Unless you're really, really good, it's just not a good idea. The next thing they say is remove any surface contaminants with clay, like I did. Next step, they say optional, is paint correction. Like I said, I could have done that on this. I think it could use it to make it like show car, more than show car perfect, but right now it looks like 9.8 out of 10. Final step is, like we just did, is this final prep. So we're on to application here. I'm going to go through this nearly word for word just to kind of keep you on the same page with me here. They want you to use this applicator pad for all the application. And I was expecting this to be sort of like a jar to dump. It's actually a spray, an aerosol-like can of spray here. You're basically going to spray the applicator pad for 3 seconds, evenly coat the pad surface, and you're going to rub it basically crosshatch or an X, and you're going to sort of overlap as you go on the thing. So you do a whole panel, it says. But it says to do it in like a panel at a time, but a section at a time. So they say 2 feet by 2 feet. So you do a square, repeat the process to cover 1 full panel at a time. So you're doing this every time. After applying to the entire panel, immediately wipe off excess coating using one of the included microfiber towels folded to 1/8. Use small circular motions, remove the excess product, flipping to the clean side for the final wipe. Here's a key point. If temperature is below 73 degrees, which I feel like we're in the mid 70s in here. It was a hot day today. It says you have to let it sit for a minute before removal. So I assume they mean like after you wipe it on there in your X or your crosshatch, you let it sit for a minute. If any streaking or oily residue remains, replace the used microfiber towel with a clean microfiber towel and wipe the area again. Clean, fresh towels are essential for coating, leveling, and removal of excess coating. After it's been coated, you throw that towel away. You can't use it anymore. It says you can actually apply a second coat if you have more. You might want to do it on a high surface area, something like that. I really don't know though. Final big key thing here, do not expose vehicle to moisture for 24 hours. This says 24. The box I just read actually says 12 hours. Avoid chemicals and washing for 7 days. So I'm going to get to this. I want to show you what this looks like. I haven't done this part yet, so we're going to do this sort of together and just see how it goes. I think I'm going to do the trunk deck first because that's a nice flat surface and we can kind of get a good view of it. The lights are real good over there. So let's head over there now. So I just sprayed my pad and I'm going to try to rub this on here now. Let's see what happens. It is an oily, I don't know if that comes across or not, but it is definitely oily and it is sort of streaky, but you can see, just making sure it's covered. Let it sit there for a minute or two. I'm going to try to go about halfway over here. Right. Kind of guessing how often to put the stuff on the pad. Just got to make sure it's all coated, I guess. I feel like time is of the essence here, but with this being a DIY kit, I feel like there's a little bit of wiggle room, I would hope, because you can buy this AutoZone. It's not like it's a rocket science or something to figure this out, you would think. And with them offering up multiple coats, I would think it's not the end of the world if you kind of mess up a panel. Okay, that's that. Let's try the wipe off here now. Let's do this portion here, then we'll flip it. Kind of keep working our way over there. Turn this inside here. It is buffing off. It is smooth. Let's flip it again. Just kind of keep this going here. Make sure I get my edges where I would have overlapped. It does go easy, I'll say that. That whole panel, you just watch that. I think we're 2 minutes into this video here. Try to get around the logo. And there we go. I'm pretty sure that panel's fully coated. I guess what I like is you can't tell it's on there. I mean, that definitely applied faster and easier than wax. Okay, now I want to go and try the rest of the car here and see if I can just bust this out faster than I expected. And you can see those little, almost like pit marks right there. It just needs a, really could go for a solid buff overall, but for the purposes of this, I think we're good for now. Okay, moving on to the rest of the car. I think I'm ready to tackle the hood. All right, it's done. I don't want to say it's like easy, but it's not. You feel like you're racing against the clock because you don't want this stuff to. I feel like if you'd spray it on there and let it sit and it would harden too fast, it would get like a smudgy film on your paint. So you want to do that buffing, you know, where we fold it into eighths and we wipe it off. Couple concerns, issues I have with this system, even before it drying. You know, number one, there's definitely enough product in here to do a bigger car. I was worried with this. There's enough here. There's enough here. And I think I went pretty heavy with this stuff on the pad. One thing, be careful. Don't be like me and drop your pad, because I think that's not a good thing. I dropped it in a fairly clean garage and it still stuck some dirt and stuff to it. So watch that. The microfiber here, that is trash now. I feel like the pad is too. It's just like a cotton pad. So here's my concerns. You can't drive this car for at least, I'd say, if you want to be safe, 24 hours. The bottle and the box say 12. The instructions say 24. I'll probably just let it sit to cure in here. If I open the garage door tomorrow, maybe get some heat in here, it'll help the process out, because the air is on and my garage gets air conditioning. So you have that. So if it's your daily, you can't do this, you know, one day after dinner and plan to drive it the next day, unless it's going to be really clear out and it's just a nice day, and maybe, you know, but to me, letting it sit outside in this, it's not like there's like a wet tackiness to it or anything. And I think if you threw dirt on it, say, just to test it, it wouldn't stick, but you don't want to risk that. So at least 12 hours, 24 to be safe. Just let it dry, let it cure, let it harden. This reminds me, though, of a few videos back, about a year ago, I did a wheel sealant on my Impala wheels, and it almost reminds me of that. Like, you're taking the rough, abrasive surface, even though you can't see it, there's still little microscopic pits and lines and cracks and things in there. You're filling that in almost, I feel like, on the paint. That's what it feels like to me, because it does have a extra smooth feel to it now, even more so than before. The other bigger concern I have is, I'm the kind of person, I daily my car, I wax it. You know, if I did this on a daily, you can't really take it to a touch car wash. Now, call me crazy. Some people, that's all you have. They say not to do that with this, because there's a chance, you know, it could rub it off, it could do something like that. So you're gonna only be doing touch-free or hand wash after this, or you risk losing your coating. Now, I think it's about $50. I'll put a link below there. You know, if it's done and done, that's great. You got a year now of protection, of waxing capabilities, whatever you want to call it, waxing properties, and that's it. It's like one and done for the year. So $50 a year to protect your paint, not too shabby. They do state on here there's some various procedures if you, like, you know, have a spot that looks like it's not hit on there. You can just sort of repeat the process. Maintenance tips, it says avoid chemicals and washing for 7 days. After the first week, perform a traditional bucket wash and look for missed spots. So basically, you're going to wash it, and if it's not beading in a certain spot, you dry it, you spray with the spray again, and then you reapply the coating. It does say, here's an interesting tip on here, regular washing weekly is essential for optimal coating performance. Do not allow hard water spots, bird droppings, and other contaminants to sit on the paint. Remove as quickly as possible. And then it says avoid car wash tunnels that make physical contact. Touchless car washes are okay. So you do have that, a touchless, which I have one of those around here, and I don't really, you know, wash the Corvette that much. Like, I've noticed a detail spray usually gets it, unless it's obviously on a big trip or something like that. Use this ceramic wash and wax. That's another product, not this. Detailer every 3 months to maximize longevity, which I do have some of that, and I'm going to touch on that here. Sorry if I'm rambling, but there's a lot going on with this. Meguiar's does have some new products out there, like I'll link this below, their hybrid ceramic wash and wax, or their hybrid ceramic detailer. That's going to, we'll say, make this coating last longer, which is cool. So check that out. All right, so that's what I got. Oh, finally, last tip here. Do not use clay, polish, liquid or paste wax, as that will remove the coating. So if you want the coating off, you can clay bar it and get it back to square one. It's not like this is permanent for life, but 50 bucks. Let me show you here before I run out of camera battery, because this has been filming for a little while here. It's not too shabby. I was worried about trim. No problem, it wipes right off. I was worried about glass in like this trim here. No problem, it came right off. I was worried about emblems. Would it ruin these? And you know, it is what it is. It's there. Didn't seem to affect it. Didn't seem to affect the lights. I kind of, you know, grazed that a little bit, but I didn't, you know, fully saturate those either. But overall, a pretty simple process that you can definitely do yourself. Like I said, all the links are below. Let's cut to some outside footage after this dries. So this is going to seem weird because this is the same video, and I filmed this a year ago, and I just realized I found the footage and I forgot to upload and edit, and I never filmed this in the sun after application. So it's interesting. This is almost like an unplanned long-term review. So the hybrid ceramic, as you can see, I didn't have any problem with the application. The one negative is, if you want to call it a negative, is it's kind of a worry now for me, and that's not a bad thing. It's the water still beads very nicely. As you can see, it looks great. I'm going to, at the end here, show you the products I use to maintain this, but I haven't had to apply anything else. I mean, this is literally after it was dirty. I drove it for 2 weeks without washing it, and then I hand washed it with what I'm going to show you here. But holding up great. It looks great. I think it's a neat product for do-it-yourself. It's really smooth and glossy, and this was nice paint to begin with. But you know, overall, I'm happy with it. You can see the difference in the light and the shade and all that, but it cleans real easy. Stuff comes off of it easy, and not to say this thing goes out in the mud or anything, but very very nice little product. Car definitely needs like a good detail, we'll say, but overall, I mean, this is a quick wash with what I'm about to show you here. Neat product, and I'll link it all below here, assuming they still sell it after a year. I'm a little late on this, but yeah, there it is. So here's what I've been using to maintain the system, which all of this was approved by Meguiar's. It even says on the different things, this provides the missing link between washing and waxing with hybrid ceramic protection. Perfect product to use in between. They're wax. Now, I have not used the wax yet, but this stuff is safe to use on the system that was applied. This is a detailer, and it says enhances waxes, coatings, and sealants. You don't want to necessarily use a product that's going to strip off everything we just applied. And this sort of just helps. It's like an in-between. So like with the Corvette, good examples, you drive it here and there, it doesn't get wet, dirty, anything like that. You know, it's just as a normal drive around town. This is a nice wipe the dust off with Meguiar's microfiber, or anybody's microfiber towel. Now, this is also hybrid ceramic. This is a wash and wax, the advanced SIO2 or S10 technology. Basically, you mix up a car wash like with this stuff, which I feel like it's just normal soap on this side. Then over here they have the SIO2 Boost, and that you add a little cap full of that stuff to your wash. And I basically been doing a 2-bucket wash method with this and this in the soap bucket, and then obviously the rinse water bucket. And then this is the hybrid ceramic mitt. The top of the mitt doesn't really do much other than just a normal wash mitt, but the back here, they tell you to wash it down with that as well, like a second pass with the soap. So, and then I just rinse it off. But between these two things, I know the whole system that I applied is hanging in there. It's holding on as long as it can, and you're not ruining it. Now, one negative, if you want to say it's a negative, if you take any car that you did this system on through an automatic car wash, there's a good chance it's going to ruin your work you just did putting that finish on. But check it out. I mean, I think it's cool for something like the Corvette because you don't wash it a ton. It's not a daily, but you know it's going to offer a coating or a protection longer term than just, say, you know, doing this by itself or a detail spray or anything like that. It's definitely
do it yourself. It's not a $10,000 coating, but at the same time, it's got some neat results. So, all right, I know I said this is all one video, but it's funny I'm filming this a year later. So check out the links below. I'll put everything that you see here, and thanks for watching, and subscribe for more at Rubber City Motoring.